The station of the stars. RTI.
And that's Petra hanging out in the background if you're watching on Facebook already. Good afternoon, one and all. From Poprad to Plymouth, we are Radio Tatras International, the station of the stars, and himself is already in. I wonder if that's the right mic this week. No. We'll try that one then.
Hello.
You're very quiet.
I was doing it quiet. I was doing it sexy.
You don't do sexy. This is your alternative news programme, allegedly. Hello to Mark Page. Hello, Mark Page. How the hell are you?
Mark Page?
Yes, Mark Page is here.
I know Mark Page.
I don't think you know that Mark Page.
Oh, all right then. All
well,
right.
you might do.
Maybe, no, I don't want to.
You might. You might.
I don't want to know it.
And we've got Mark Eden is there. Yarka is there. Dubri Den Yarka. Steve. Afternoon, Steve.
All right, Steve.
Afternoon, Steve.
Yeah.
Barry Tyler's in the house as always, as is David and Robert. We have Brian on the other chat room. As we have Kiki, we have Hamza. And I presume that's a Czech name or a Slovak name, so do Bridget.
I'll check that.
Lawrence is there, Taylor's there, Mustafa. Mustafa is always there. Hello, Mustafa. What a wonderful person you are.
I must have a coffee. Oh, sorry, Mustafa.
Yeah, I think he's been to the dentist and they've given him too many drugs this morning. What?
Well, you're right, actually.
Am I right? Oh, flipping heck. That's marvellous, isn't it? We'll get on with it. Now, if you're on my Facebook page,
Yes.
as a lot of them are, you'll see a little bit later on that we will be discussing a topic that has come up through social media this week about stereotypes.
Yeah.
And I find that really hard because I don't like stereotypes. I really don't. Afternoon, Dave.
Do you like the stereophonics?
I like stereophonics. I just don't like stereotypes. And there's been a load of stereotypes this week, and I think they're breeding hatred. I really do.
Yeah.
And on my Facebook page, there's a list of the things that they're talking about. And the stereotypes are, because someone is rich, does that make them a thief?
No.
All right. Because someone is being paid social benefit, does that make them a thief?
No.
Do amateur political citizen journalists ever offer unbiased reports?
Never.
If you take a paperclip from work or use the company internet to send private emails, is that theft?
Yes.
And can you justify theft by saying they can afford it?
No.
Is a member of a political party automatically a liar?
Yes.
No. Good afternoon to Duke, to Hendrik, who's there as well. Hello. And to Dawn. Hello, Dawn.
Hello, Dawn. Is that Dawn from the village of the Damned, Dawn?
It's a Dawn with an MBE.
Ooh, well, you need one to live in the village of the Damned.
It's MBE Dawn Craig. Wow. Do we have to sort of salute and stand to attention?
It's Mary Bethany Elizabeth.
Oh, right. And Nigel Lambert's there. So we'll be discussing the stereotype thing a little bit later on in the programme. But before we do that, we're going to talk to Rachel.
Hello, Rachel.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Well, I'm tired, Uncle Eric. I'm very tired.
Oh.
What's up?
Well, it's been a big week. We've been moving and it's been massive. Oh, you know, we do it every couple of years. It's all right.
Yeah. You do, don't you?
Yeah, we really, really do.
It's terrible.
And it's kind of, I'm kind of getting a bit too beyond it now. I think I'm too old now to be moving around like
excuse me. No, I'm sorry. That's not good enough.
No, it isn't, Rach. I've just pushed your buttons as well.
Yeah, well, the bottom line is, Rach,
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older than you.
Yes.
In fact, vastly older than you, to be really honest about it.
And you're a little bit younger than me.
A little bit younger than you, that's true.
No, her.
No. And I've just moved as well, so I'm sorry, there is empathy, but not sympathy.
Yeah, but wait a minute. I've done it. My brother and I were having a conversation about how many times we've moved in our life. And we lost count at 54.
1954.
So I'm tired, and I'm allowed to be tired. 54 is way too many.
Excuse me, I've just moved halfway across Europe.
Yeah?
Halfway across Europe is like, that's not even the whole of Australia, man.
No, that's true. You have an Australian cohort there, Rach, in the form of Jude Kovacs, so I will go...
Oh, Jude.
Mwah, blow her a kiss. Good afternoon, guys, says Nicholas. Good afternoon, guys. And Steve, you're not supposed to be writing yet. We do the topic a bit later.
Good on you, Steve.
Just trying to. What do you think you are, the producer, Steve? For goodness sake. We move on. World War II Spitfire pilot Mary Ellis. What a lovely lady. She's died at the grand old age of 101. And do you know what? She deserved to be 101.
Why? Why'd you say that?
Because she did so many great things.
I will see what you mean. I thought you were doing it as a punishment.
No,
yeah, she was. Yeah, she was a wonderful lady.
Mm-hmm.
There is something we've forgotten to put on this list,
What?
and nobody else spotted it apart from me, and I forgot to put it on. The world's oldest woman has died as well, and she's 117. Well, she isn't.
Blimey.
She was, and I can't remember her name or where she's from, but I just thought I'd tell you.
All right. Steve reckons he's your producer, not mine.
It took something more than you to produce me, son.
Very true. But she was known as one of the glamour girls in World War II. And
She was.
And their job basically was to deliver Spitfires from the factory. They fly them from the factory down to the relevant airfields across the country, mainly in the south. And they would fly whilst, I mean, and don't think this was an easy job, because there was German fighter planes all over the place, and these girls would fly these planes down and hand them over to the RAF. Well, she was in the RAF anyway, and to keep the war machine going. What a brilliant lady! Absolutely brilliant.
Should have put a gun on it. She would have been right.
I think she would have been. I actually saw her on an interview, and you could sort of go, I am not arguing with that lady. Not a chance.
She was a very nice-looking young lady.
She was a nice-looking young lady, even at 100 years old, which is the birthday.
I
she
think
was
that's a bit suspect.
No, she was a very handsome lady.
Very handsome chap.
Yes. Any ideas on the oldest working radio DJs? Is there ones who are, oh dear, older than Lee? Yes, many of them.
Yeah. Tony Blackburn.
No, and actually, your mate, Emperor Roscoe, he's older.
He's older than me, and he looks it.
He's older than Tony Blackburn as well.
He's older than anybody in the world.
Yeah, Albert Howard.
Older than Moses.
Excuse me.
She might be tired, but she's still on form, isn't she?
She's got a lovely form.
Or maybe she's got, like, alcohol affects you.
When I'm tired, that's the thing. When I'm tired,
you go through it. You just go right the way through it and carry on.
You got me very, very drunk on Wednesday.
What do you mean?
It was your fault.
Me. I'll tell you, this is the truth. The young lady, Svetlana, came to the table at the English pub and said to Lee and Andrea, they'd already drunk a bottle of wine between them, would you like another bottle of wine? At which point Andrew says, no, not really. And Lee says, no. And Svetlana said, you're a really nice man because you respect your wife. 1 minute later, he's going, nah, we'll have another bottle of wine. And poor old Andrea has to go, yes.
And then we had another when we got home.
Yes, so it's your fault. See.
Sorry. I digressed. I'm so sorry.
The Wiltshire clans arrived in the form of David. Hello, bro.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Albert Howard, the Black Panthers founder, horrible group they were. He's died at the age of 80. It was the thing was started in California. I can't say anything nice about it, really.
Well, you can really, because its ultimate aim, really, at the beginning, wasn't a bad thing. He got sort of hijacked.
Yeah.
Because the problem was they wanted to stop the oppression of black people, which was terrible. It was terrible the way it was going. But they began carrying guns and arms, and it became this very strange political movement, and violence was involved and everything. So it got twisted, really, which it was very sad. Anyway, Albert's dead.
He's gone and pegged his lot, really, hasn't he?
He has.
Hal Brooks, the clown. Remember Hal Brooks?
I do.
He was 97.
Yeah.
Wow.
He appeared on all sorts. He was on Blue Peter, he was on Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack! Yeah!
And
sorry, Rach, do you follow that?
What?
Did you follow that?
No, I'm just reading the little thing, though, here in the list, and I don't want to know what the Super Sausage Squad is. I don't.
No, but when he says the magic C word, I have to respond, you see. So when you go,
Crackerjack.
Crackerjack!
It's because when you were there, if you were in Crackerjack, you got a cabbage.
Oh.
You did. That
did.
was your prize. You got a cabbage,
That's
cabbage,
the
and a
worst
carrot.
prize ever.
No, because you see, what you had to do was get the prizes, and in amongst the carrots and the cabbage,
There was a pencil.
there was some really good BBC prizes. Well, pencils and pens. and the trouble is,
Stationery, in other words.
yeah, and as you were trying to hold all this lot up, you would eventually drop something, and everybody go, ah. And then Pete, what was his name?
Peter
Crouch. Was it
Crouch. Leslie Crouch.
Leslie Crouch. Crowther.
Crowther.
Leslie Crowther would say, oh, have another pen from Crackerjack. Crackerjack! And everybody would scream Crackerjack.
That sounds like a terrible lot of self-promotion, really.
Yeah, it was
the
pretty
prizes
rubbish.
for BBC emblazoned trinkets. And that's terrible. That's called propaganda.
It was wonderful. It was really wonderful. Anyway, poor old Hal Brooks has. I know Steve's saying the C word. How bad am I? He's died, and he's I don't know. He kind of left a quasi legacy of being very smart, motivating people. Especially young kids programs, and a lot of them still to this day, where they chuck buckets of custard over them, all that sort of stuff. It started with Crackerjack, Crackerjack, and carried on from there.
I want to see if it works when I do it. Crackerjack.
Crackerjack.
That's quite unsettling, really.
He had the car that used to fall apart as well, didn't he?
Yeah, it used to come on the set, and it looked like an old sort of Riley or Model T Ford, something like that. And as he drove on the stage, it'd go bang and the wings would fall off.
I've had cars like that.
Yeah, me too, yeah. See, it was actually educating you for the future, right?
Yeah, that's what you could expect.
I'm sad I wasn't there to receive a BBC pencil.
Absolutely.
Out of a cabbage.
I actually got one once. And my younger brother is reminding us that one of the best TV programs of all time for kids, well, not kids, it was grown-ups, was Tiz Was.
Tiz Was? I don't
It was
agree.
stunning.
A good friend of
Do
ours.
you want me to slap him, Dave? Because it's a really good program.
It was in a way, but all right, it was. But it had Chris Tarrant in it, and that ruined it.
No, Chris Tarrant was brilliant.
He wasn't, though, was he?
Rach has no idea what we're talking about again.
No,
I know that wasn't Chris Tarrant a Doctor Who?
No.
Who am I
God.
thinking of?
Philistine woman.
No, who am I thinking of?
David Tennant?
David Tennant. Nothing like Chris Tennant at all. Yeah, carry on.
Oh, Tarrant.
Tarrant Tennant.
Yeah. The ubiquitous Jeremy Clarkson took over from him in Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and was absolute genius. Actually, Chris Tarrant was just a bit what somebody said now, because you're looking at me like they have.
Steve Mann says, I hope the neighbours can't hear this. They'll be wondering if I'm living in a madhouse.
Crackerjack.
Is that
Crackerjack! And Andy Harper says, Tiz was classic TV from my region, ATV. Actually, it was, wasn't it? It was from ATV.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, ATV. Yeah, absolutely right.
Chris Tarrant was just a pompous arse, though.
He wasn't.
He was. He still is.
He's brilliant. He's a good fisherman,
Yeah, well, he stinks of it.
What?
An angler.
He's an angler.
An angler.
An angler.
He's an Anglophile. He likes English people.
He does, and he's an angler.
Yes.
Have you met him?
I've met him. Yes, and he's a pompous arse.
There's a word that sort of rhymes with angler, and that's what Jeremy Clarkson is.
Right. Thank you very much for that, lowering the tone of the conversation.
So
I told you, I'm tired. I can't help it. It's not correct.
We will come on in part 2 of the show. Don't forget, we're looking at your views. Not now. You can air them later. Stereotypes breed hatred because someone is rich doesn't make them a thief. Someone's on social benefit doesn't make them a thief. Amateur political citizen journalists, they're always biased. And, the daft things. if you take a paper clip from work or use the company internet to send private emails, is that theft? I think it is. And can you justify theft by saying they can't afford it? Yeah, John Asher was in Tiswas.
John Asher was the name I was trying to think of. He's a personal friend of the glorious Andreas. He was far better than that pompous arse.
Excuse me?
Crackerjack!
Crackerjack! Crackerjack!
See, she's getting us off the topic straight away. I bet we're going to get the C word in a minute.
Don't you be so cheeky.
We are going to get the C word in a minute because of Cliff.
Well,
and she's going to shut us up by doing the C word.
I only have one thing to say about this, and it will shut this whole argument down. But carry on. Do you want me to go and get the glorious Andrea, and she can tell you all about John Asher?
Nah.
Yeah, he was far better than Cliff. He had a #1 hit. Chris Tarrant never had a #1 hit.
He was on a hit record.
You know, he had a #1 hit with "Let's Twist Again."
Who did?
The only time he had a
Asher.
hit was if he was hit by a car.
Don't know. Anyway, the lovely Wendy Mills from Shillington has arrived. Little bit late, Wendy. Where have you been? Oh, she's been down the Crown again.
A bit windy then, Wendy.
No, she's been down the Crown or the Noah's Ark.
Oh, that was a joke. That was funny.
Never mind.
Don't worry, he doesn't look very nice. Chris Tarrant. I just googled Chris Tarrant. He looks a bit, you know.
A pompous arse.
Naomi Buchanan.
He looks like the BBC should have been hovering over his head.
That's true. Naomi Buchanan says, "Afternoon, ladies."
Afternoon, gentlemen.
Naomi.
Ladies.
She is so manly. I like her.
And apparently John Asher
trying to elevate you.
Worked at Rico Copiers at one point with my brother.
He did.
Yes, Dave, the Bucket of Water song. Thank you very much.
And his wife sold perfume for a really well-known leading brand of perfume makers who I can't remember.
Excuse me, Chris Tarrant, the Bucket of Water song.
That wasn't a #1 hit called "Let's Twist Again" by John Asher.
No, that's very true. Yes, actually, you're right. There's a whole debate going on Facebook. I'll try and keep up with it. Steve Watson, no, wasn't John Asher the man behind the hit "Lily the Pink"? No, that was actually the Scaffold, as Andy Harper quite rightly said. Yeah. Joe Meadows has joined us. I'm pleased about that. Joe currently is in hospital, recovering from a motorcycle accident. Which is terribly bad. So, Joe, get better soon. We all wish you well.
Get better, Joe.
Get better, Joe.
Get better, Joe.
I was waiting for everybody else to comment. I was waiting for the rest.
Crackerjack!
Crackerjack! Crackerjack! Anyway, the BBC, the headline is wrong. Because it says the BBC's refused leave to appeal against Cliff Richard's.
No, it isn't wrong. That's a perfectly right headline. The judge who made the decision.
But it doesn't tell the whole story.
Well, of course it does. It's been refused. The BBC's been refused leave by the judge who made the decision that they want to appeal against to make an appeal. It's absolutely ludicrous because all they've got to do now is go to the Court of Appeal.
But they can now go to the Court of Appeal.
Thank you.
And then the Supreme Court, which used to be called the High Court, until everybody got all a bit American. And away we go from there.
Can I just say something? And I'm willing to shut up after I've said this.
Rach, get ready with the C word.
Yep.
The simple fact is that everybody on Facebook, everybody in the world at the moment is missing the point that, yes, the media and the press have the absolute right to cover any raid on any celebrity's house which involves a suspected crime. The simple fact is Cliff Richard was innocent when that raid was made. He was innocent during that raid, and he was innocent after that raid. So the man's innocent. All that happened is that this judge made this decision against the BBC based on the fact that he thinks his privacy was invaded. Well, I'm sorry, there's a bit of collateral damage all the way through any kind of democracy, and that's what we're talking about, the basics of democracy.
So are we saying that a celebrity's innocent, guilty until proven innocent?
No, he was innocent.
Whereas a citizen is innocent till proven guilty.
No, anybody whose house is raided by the police runs the risk of it being reported because the police tell you about it and therefore it becomes in the public domain. It is nothing to do with innocent. The man was innocent, he's still innocent. Even if he's guilty, at this moment, the man is innocent. So nobody's condemned him. Nobody's made him a paedophile. Nobody's done anything wrong to him. He simply had his house raided and the press reported on it. As simple as that. The BBC were wrong.
They did say, the BBC were wrong to say historical child sex allegations.
Well, they weren't.
No.
Let
me finish. Because everybody heard it and then interpreted it to mean if the police are going there, it's got to be real.
Well, no, the police raid. Bear in mind as well that Cliff Richard knew for 6 months that the likelihood was his house would be raided because he'd been interviewed over this allegation for 6 months. And he knew exactly what was going on. The BBC were a bit heavy-handed, and the reason the BBC were heavy-handed is because they didn't want ITV to get the story as well.
Correct.
Simple as that. No crime was committed by anybody. Even the judge admits no crime.
C word, Rach.
Sorry, Rach.
Crackerjack! Right, go on, Rach.
Those that other network, I bet you they had got the story now.
Oh, yes, absolutely. In fact, Sky News are somewhat belittling the BBC over it and telling them how badly their journalism was.
The journalism wasn't bad.
But they're all taking the mickey out of them.
Well, they're taking the mickey, but the journalism wasn't bad. Even the judge said that there was nothing wrong in the content of their journalism. It was simply that they flew over Cliff Richard's house, and now everybody's going to pay him millions for it.
That's true.
Ludicrous.
Hello to Aaron. Hi to Alsbetta. How are you? Alsbetta. BBC were trying to make up for their own mistakes with the likes of Savills.
No, they weren't.
Let him finish. He can have his say.
It's just wrong.
It's a democracy, Uncle Lee, as you rightly point out.
Yes, they may have gone a bit far,
yeah,
but they had the right to do it as the police tipped them off.
Absolutely.
You half agreed with Steve there.
But Steve, that's what I've been saying for weeks. You're quite right. I love you for being right for once.
Okay.
The only reason why he should have been upset, really, is if his backyard was messy.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
the simple fact is, this man made part of his publicity campaign the androgyny of his sexual prowess. Nobody knew what his sexual leanings were. He didn't found people about that. He worked on it for 40 or 50 years, and now he even pretended to have girlfriends. Then he had nobody. Then he told people he didn't have sex. So his sex life was something that was in the public eye, and that's all that happened.
Yeah, I think it annoyed a lot of journalists. He just wouldn't stand up and say what he is.
I'm sure. Yeah, and he's
when you do a song with Olivia Newton-John for the Xanadu soundtrack, and you roll the stage,
absolutely.
You are
oh, now we're in trouble. Now we are totally in trouble because the lovely Mandy Lester, the poor lady that had to kind of half look after me with Steve at LBC in London. Great producer, by the way. She's now watching over us. So I feel like I've got a Mandy sitting on my shoulder, and it's going, Eric, you know how to do it properly. Now do it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, Mandy's there. Not yet.
That's all right. I bet you Mandy's crackerjack.
Crackerjack! She probably is after our lot. David Elphick, Jenny Hodge, Kevin from Bedfordshire's there as well. Hello. Yes, Steve, what? You all right for once? I quite agree. I promise it won't happen again. Please forgive me. I like you, mate. That's wonderful. Hi to Mohammed and hi to Jally. Jally? It could be Jally. I'm not quite sure because I'm not very good at linguistic-y things because I can't even speak English. We move on. There's going to be a bit of a problem, and this isn't just in the UK. We, in our new house, are quite close to the airport. I'm wondering what the dickens was going on one night. A load of Slovak state flights were coming in. I'm going, what the hell has happened? Well, Albania Travel, the travel agent, crashed, and it meant that the planes were not paid for. And so he just said, right, we're not bringing anybody back. We're not taking anybody on holiday anymore. Tough luck. So the Slovak government had to get planes out and fly people back to Poprad from Albania. And they just kept on flying and flying and flying. And I have to say, they got on with it. Good on them. Yeah, absolutely good on them. But there's another strike for British holidaymakers as thousands look like to be stranded on mainland Europe. Oh, no. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I know what's going to happen.
What?
Do you remember when there was the ferry strike a few years ago?
Yeah.
And there was loads of Brits stuck in Europe?
And we all went in our rowing boats to rescue them.
No.
We did.
They started knocking on my door going, "You're from the British Embassy. How are you going to get me home?" I said, "I'm not." And they used to get most upset.
What? They come and knock on your door here?
Yeah.
And where were they? In Spain?
No, how are they going to reach from Spain to here? Have they got long arms?
Exactly.
Very long. Mr. Tickle.
Tickle, yeah.
Oh, for flipping heck's sake. Everybody's talking to each other now on the chat room.
That's because we're bored with us.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, there could be some problems with Ryanair as well, because they
And a Eurostar.
yeah, even the Eurostar. Everybody's going bonkers.
That's terrible, though, isn't it? Why do they always do it when you're taking your children on holiday?
I don't know, and that really,
It's the best time to cause absolute.
Of course it is.
Disruption.
What a cruel thing to do.
It's very mean.
It's called holding the citizens to ransom.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I think,
Well,
guys, I don't mind if you, I mean, it's bad enough when you hold business people to ransom, but at least let the school kids go on holiday,
yeah.
and then have you striking end of September or something. But
Yeah.
don't do it right now. The massive campaign's been going on in. Oh, he's done now. Dave's done it. Crackerjack, Crackerjack. Oh, my Lord, this isn't going to go away, is it? Anyway, there has been a real high on the next topic, because there's been some high-profile cases with even a mum getting held up at an airport for bringing back medicinal cannabis for a child, and several other cases. And interestingly enough, Sajid David, who's the home thingy person, has agreed that medicinal cannabis can now be prescribed in the UK.
That's right. And you see, when you think,
Oh, we've got another one, look!
oh, what? Another crackerjack?
Crackerjack!
Crackerjack.
Cracker what, says
Well,
Dorothy?
when you think,
That was quite
Dorothy,
good. That was quite
just be
good.
careful.
Yes, steady there, steady.
If you think cannabis really became the demon of all drugs, particularly in the 1950s. It was earlier than that, but it was demonized as something which was going to turn the world into this hellhole of madness and insanity. But actually, it is one of the most peaceful drugs you can find. It's also been discovered recently that it has properties which will help cure cancer. It has properties that helps Alzheimer's, and it has properties that helps these children. And why not make it legal? The only reason you wouldn't make it legal before is because you couldn't tax it. You couldn't get a trade agreement with the countries where it was grown.
I think that is partially true.
You
But
have to forgive me for making noise because it's holding me thing and it's hurting me.
oh, Rach.
I've been to the dentist, Rach, and it's made me go,
Was it good?
It was lovely. I loved it, yeah. I love men putting things in the mouth.
Oh, geez, that's back to the sausage brigade.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's a crackerjack.
Crackerjack! The biggest problem with this is that a lot of very narrow-minded people, I have to say,
Yes.
took it to mean that if medicinal cannabis was issued, then that was the first step on the ladder to legalising cannabis in general.
Yeah.
Because in many countries where medicinal came first, it is true that cannabis has been legalised.
Of course it is, but why not legalise it? We've legalised booze, we legalised cigarettes, with all sorts
That's a
of
good
drugs.
point, you know.
All taxable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And but the problem is the reason the cannabis lobby don't want cannabis to be legalized is because it would become homogenized. And at the moment, you can get all these different strains of cannabis, so I'm told, and at various prices. Once it gets taxed, it will be taxed like cigarettes and alcohol. You'd have 75% tax on it. At the moment, it's actually a very cheap way of altering your mind for a bit of relaxation.
And do you know one of the other things? I cannot remember, and sorry, Rach, this is going to be another C word moment because he's going to go off into one.
All right.
I cannot remember ever reading, seeing, or hearing a news report where it started off, a fracas started after two men smoked a cannabis cigarette.
It's very difficult to fight when you're off your tree.
Yeah, it's not going to happen, is
Because you
it?
laugh. Yeah. Well, the first time
If
you fall
they had a
over, it's really
fracas,
funny.
it was over the. If they had a fracas, it was over the last pizza.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. That makes sense. We're going to break all the rules of radio, and I'm going to say to you today that it's getting worse. Not only am I on the radio, he's younger. Younger brother David's on the radio, but my younger nephew is making his debut today on Black Cat 107.
Brilliant.
Between 4 and 7 today in St Neots. So good luck, Colin.
Good luck, Colin.
Good luck.
Yeah, Colin. I bet you're a crackerjack.
Crackerjack person.
There you go.
Yeah, well done.
You're going to get sued for stealing that or something.
No. Oh, Lee, you've been told to man up
Okay, excuse me. Thank you very much.
because you did some
That's-
whinging about your teeth.
He's hurting.
Yeah.
What? It's in my mouth.
Hang on a minute. I have to leap to Uncle Lee's defence here. Tooth pain is the worst pain.
I know,
that
and
you
he's
could-
supposed to have fixed it.
If anybody's
but it's murder and it does things to your mind.
If anybody's eating their dinner at the moment, stop it. Because do you remember how he said, I got him drunk, which I didn't. He then inspired me to do something which I used to do and stopped doing for some reason. I can't think
Oh,
why.
no.
Pull out your own teeth.
No, walk around with no shoes on.
Oh, heck. Oh, no.
Say no
Oh.
clothes on.
No shoes on.
Let's have a look.
Because it was so hot.
Show us.
You really want to see?
No, don't. No.
I'll show you if you want.
I'll show you me only me gob.
That doesn't matter. That's just.
Did you
normal.
burn your feet?
No, I
No.
slid under the table. No, I slid the chair under the table because I got a new chair and it goes a bit too quick. Like the old one was sort of wheels were half broken. And as I slid forward, I sort of slid on the chair, and my not little toe, the one next door to it, banged
Yeah.
straight in to the open
Oh.
edge of a
Oh.
metal frame for the desk.
Oh,
Oh.
My nail
yeah, that
went.
hurts.
My nail went crack.
Oh.
Crack-a-jack!
Crack-a-jack!
There was tomato sauce everywhere,
Oh.
and I'm going.
Drop that
I went, oh bother!
How many
Yes,
people
I'm
out there?
sure you did.
Right, hang on a minute. We're going to do a bit of market research.
Yeah.
Lee's moaning about his tooth.
Yeah.
Joe says, ask him what pain is. So Joe, we would
Joe,
like.
no, don't know. Hang on a minute. Joe knows very well what
Only got
pain is.
half an hour
Joe's been turned into a human pretzel for
I
a
know.
horrible accident. So
I know.
he's
So
got more
which
pain than anyone.
bits, Joe, have you got broken? Because as I understand it, the youthful Joe, who's always been completely barking mad, is in hospital for 5 months.
Yeah.
And to give you an idea of Joe's ability to be different, I was once riding my motorcycle towards the town in the fog.
Oh, I know
we,
the story.
we were all
This
going
makes me
very
cringe.
slowly, and along comes Joe on his motorcycle, standing up on
Like a
the seat.
skateboard.
Yes, in the fog.
Joe, if you're currently in any pain, you buzz the nurse because that shouldn't be happening.
Very true. And our very own Cat Andrews,
All right,
who
Cat.
does the Cat to Go-Go show, he's currently in hospital as well. Blimey. But he's enjoying the sexy nurses. Oh, you naughty young
You
fellow.
naughty cat.
Yeah, naughty
The
cat.
more morphine you get, the sexier they become.
Yeah, that's true. A bit like
Maybe
beer.
that's what I need.
What?
Something for me teeth.
Morphine.
No.
yes.
He stuck a big prick in me thing.
Oh, back to the sausage party.
Yeah. Oh, cat and his
Crack-a-jack.
pussies. Crack-a-jack! Oh dear. Our numpty of the week award definitely goes to some idiot, stupid, moron, Jobsworth, who works for Euro Parking Services, who obviously don't train their people properly. This is a traffic warden that slapped a ticket on an ambulance.
It is absolutely shameful. Have you seen the video where all the public are piling into this traffic warden saying, this is an ambulance, it won't fit in your little parking space, and they've stopped to get some water because it's 190 degrees at the moment, and you've just given them a parking ticket.
What an idiot.
And he just said, I'm doing my job.
Emergency services in the near future?
Yeah.
Well, they've actually been removed from that area pending an investigation. And really, in a way, you have to ask yourself, well, we're all saying how disgusting it is that we pilloried Cliff Richard and put his name all over the press. Did this parking warden really need to be subject to this kind of abuse and Mickey taking and insults for what he did?
Yeah, he was a numpty.
Well, so was Cliff a numpty.
No. Before we take, oh God, we're late for the commercial break. We'll go to some more of your messages. We'll let Naomi have a good go. Legalising cannabis would bring a number of positives. One, drug trafficking would be reduced. That's absolutely right.
But it wouldn't, though, Naomi. It wouldn't, because what would happen? No, it wouldn't, because it would be legalised. It would be taxed, and it would be cheaper, like it is with cigarettes and alcohol, to buy it on the black market.
No, I think
black market. That's right.
But the amount of people that buy from the black market and don't are two different numbers. So I think I would agree it would go down. I don't think it would eradicate it, but I think it would be reduced. And she says taxi.
You're only talking about one particular
item,
substance.
Yeah.
So
and tax it, and the money goes to our emergency services and NHS, giving it some much needed funds. The various different strains become controlled and less negative side effects. That is very true from the currently uncontrolled and illegal growers and sellers. It's an absolute no-brainer. Take Holland as a prime example, and to respond to Rachel defending Lee, Rachel,
yeah,
Lee's a wimp.
No, he's not. Who said that?
Naomi.
My very nice friend Naomi, who's been to my house.
No.
Yeah.
He's not a wimp. He's not a wimp.
I've got only my gob.
Is he?
I've had my share of dental issues in the last 12 months, and I can tell you it really, really hurts. And while Uncle Lee is kind of a bit girly when it comes to pain and flu and things like that, in this case, I absolutely 100% support him, and he is absolutely not a wimp.
Okay, very good of you. Are we going to take a commercial break?
No, stop it.
We're going to say hello to Rain and to Karen, and what does Steve say? The happiness of the population will be at an all-time high.
Who said that?
Steve,
yeah,
the numpty one, says Andrew. This has got to be the worst piece of political comment I've ever heard in this particular story. Regular heat waves will kill thousands is the headline. And a politician in the UK said, the government should change houses to make them more eco-friendly.
Well,
why does the government have to do anything to do with heat waves?
Well, I think what they're saying is that the government should move things on through legislation to make houses more eco-friendly. That's all. Very sensible thing.
I think they should do it in terms of forward planning, and I mean, because let's face it, but you can believe climate change tonight if you want. It doesn't bother me, but the temperatures are warming and summers are getting hotter, and that's indicative of the amount of heat waves you've had in the last 5 years compared to the 5 years before that. But I think you guys aren't like, we're in Australia where our buildings are built to withstand extreme heat, because that's the nature of where we live. You guys in the future need to have regulations about the resistance of heat from the buildings that you build from now onwards. But if you try and go back, so many of your dwellings in Britain are so much older than any of the dwellings in Australia, just by the fact that we're a fledgling nation and you're not. But it's something you should look to in the forward planning and development of
out of the mouth
of newer houses and how they're built from here on in.
Yep. Such logic from a beautiful baby.
Yeah. I said no, not a baby, a babe.
Well, same difference.
No,
she's still a baby.
You're a big baby.
I feel like a baby this week, dribbling and carrying on.
But it is true. The bottom line is, if you look at new houses, and it is true here, where they're actually doing zero emission housing now.
Yeah.
And our new places like that. And the downside for me is some of the materials they use in housing, not bad things, not things that catch on fire, just some of the materials I'm actually with asthma allergic to. So of course we have all the doors shut during the day, and none of this smell that would normally squeeze out from an old house.
All right.
The minute I walk in, I sort of go, open the front door, run to the back, open the back door, wind through, and then I'm all right again. But it's just one of those things. Karen, and the Brits just think it's all happening there, when in truth it isn't, because California is plagued by wildfires in the same way as Greece has been dogged by wildfires. Horrific deaths in Greece as well, just at the point as they were coming out of their austerity as well.
I know.
It's horrible.
They
It
can't
really
take
is
a
bad,
break.
isn't it?
It's so sad what's going on in Greece right now.
Yeah.
And, it's really horrible. It's in nature at an absolute beastliness.
Absolutely. I've got to say, really is. Yeah, I totally agree. I've got to say a big thank you to a new listener who's just come on, and that's Dinesh. Good afternoon, Dinesh. How are you doing?
Is it the Dinesh we know?
Yes.
Hello, Dinesh.
Brian O'Donovan's there.
Welcome.
Brian got stuck on the 19th hole, didn't he?
Did you?
Yeah, he got stuck in the 19th.
That's always terrible.
That's why he's late. Yeah. He was all right up till the 18th, but when he got to the 19th...
So what you get on the 19th?
He was
on the 19th, yeah.
And we now hand over to our science correspondent for the next story, Rachel.
Well, I got to tell you, I am seriously excited about this story. As you know, I'm a total Mars nerd, and the discovery of water on Mars is enormous and far-reaching, and biggest thing we've heard of all year. There's a lake found under a polar cap that stretches 20 kilometres across and is about 1.5 kilometres deep. Mm-hmm. Now, people say, oh, that means life. Where there's water, there's life. Well, not necessarily. They need to get something on that planet, which they won't do for a while, to take a sample of that water, because one tends to think that it's going to be very, very salty. And can anything live in that level of saltiness?
Crisps.
So that's the burning question.
Well, it doesn't. Yeah, they have to be careful though, Rach, because we've been through this one before. What we consider to be a life form, and that can be an amoeba, is a life form.
Of course.
There may be different styles of life form on Mars underground in salty water.
That's true, but they'd have to get a sample first to see what microbial can possibly live in that denseness of salt.
See?
So we're not getting too excited about it yet. But we are very hopeful, because that means they've got polar caps really similar to ours.
Yeah.
Mars is a really similar planet to ours. The days are slightly longer, but they tilt on the same axis as we do. They've got caps the same as we do. And although it's uninhabitable above ground, what happens underground and in these veins of water, and the other thing too, it can't freeze because it's salty.
Yeah.
So the level of salt has to be determined to see if anything microbial can actually live in there.
Yeah.
So once they get a sample, we'll know for certain. But it's very, very, very exciting. I'm excited.
I'm excited as well.
I was nearly going to do the C word to intervene at one point.
That's because you thought she'd gone.
No, I thought it was going to, but she didn't. She really wrapped it up beautifully.
Yeah. But really, seriously, finding life on Mars, what does that mean to us on the Earth?
Well,
we can look.
Nothing,
oh my word! Hold on, Rachel. I've got to tell you. We've just been invaded by Hungary.
I'm hungry.
We have. Oh. We've got to say hello to Tamás Nitri, who's from Hungary. And also, Yoki's arrived. He's from Hungary as well.
Hello, Yoki.
Yeah. Hello, Hungary.
Well, everybody is hungry.
It's like Eurovision Song Contest.
Only
better.
Well, can I answer, Uncle Lee?
Yes, you can.
I'm happy to say hello, but I'm having a thought and I should express it before I forget, because I'm really tired. But, yeah, the difference between, what does it mean for us?
Yeah.
Well, essentially it means, other than for our exploration and our curiosity, it doesn't mean a great deal in terms of affecting our daily life on Earth. But it does mean that in the future, there's a possibility of colonising Mars.
That's right. That's what I was thinking, yeah.
So that would be an epic way of doing it. Now, that if they can get somebody or a craft of some description, or even a crew on the ground by 2040, then we can start having a dig in the samples and seeing what's going on in there. I reckon
2040?
I reckon 2030,
Yeah,
2035.
That's the sort of target date the scientists are talking
Oh,
about.
right. No, sorry.
Yeah.
No.
So I think it's way doable, and if that means that when we'll be long gone, but how we're going with this planet right now, we're destroying it as we speak. It won't last a whole lot longer.
True.
We're going to run out of reserves, and natural resources don't last forever. So I think by the time we're in real peril, it'd be great to know if there's somewhere else so that our children's children can go.
Exactly. We're going to run on Rach.
Well,
Sorry about this.
because
we're going to stay with Rach in the next story because she has the connection to what happened in the prison. So
the prison.
Did you get that?
I did.
Nobody else
On
did, right?
the outside, the roses grow. There were 10 prisoners who escaped from a regional jail in Western Australia after a riot or during a riot, and they've been charged along with a 22-year-old woman who assisted them. We don't know the full details yet. They've only just caught the last guy. Wow. So he was running around like a nutter all over Western Australia and scaring the willikers out of everybody.
Yes.
But now they're doing a huge inquiry into behaviour of prisoners, operations, their infrastructure, their procedures, the security and whatnot, because it was a major embarrassment to the Department of Corrections. Huge.
Yeah.
But they're all locked up again now, but how 10 guys escaped during a riot is beyond me.
Okay, apparently Mars bars have no atmosphere. I
bet that's Steve.
No, it's Kat.
Oh, sorry, Kat.
Yeah, hi to Andrea, who's there.
Who's that?
Eddie has joined us as well. Kind of a bit of logic with this one. There's a new bill they're hoping to get through at some point to ban children from owning the larger drones, which is a great idea because, these things are as big as little aircraft.
Well, they're not. They're as big as little pretend aircraft.
Well, there is that to it.
Yeah, and they are dangerous. Of course they are, because there's no way of controlling them from British air. Well, no, airspace is controlled for them, is it?
Technically, airspace is controlled in a lot of areas.
Yeah,
yes.
but practically it is.
Practically, it
No,
is.
so
I mean,
yeah.
there is a set of rules about right to fly across airports for other pilots in danger. There's also blocks to even flying a kite.
Yeah, that's right.
Across certain areas. From where's that? Oh, Andrea wants to say hello.
Hello.
From Stratford-upon-Avon. Oh, how lovely.
I love Stratford-upon-Avon.
It's a very nice place.
It is, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, Willie Shakespeare was there.
Little Willie.
That's why I love it so.
Little Willie Shakespeare. Oh, don't.
Cracker Jack.
Cracker Jack. Cracker Jack. I was having... next week we're going to tell you...
He was having a Little Willie moment.
No, next week we're going to tell you all about the British Council.
Oh, we're not doing it this week.
No, we're going to save it because we're giving them another day because I'm a very nice person.
Are we going to give only 158 days to Christmas from the ConsumerWatchFoundation.com till next week as well?
I love Christmas. I don't know why.
No. Well, we probably get there. Good news. North Korea's returned the remains of a fallen US hero, and that's one of the first things that was discussed and promised during the summer debate with Mr. Trump, and I think that's
There's a couple of different servicemen, actually. There was a few.
Yeah, there were. I'm really annoyed about this one because I don't care whether you like Donald Trump or not. You don't go vandalising stuff in the street just because you don't like something.
No.
I hate mindless vandalism. That's all this was.
Yeah.
And I don't like him either, and I don't think he should have been able to buy his own Hollywood star at all for 40 grand. God bless him.
I'm sure this
is that what you did?
You don't take a pickaxe to another person's property, i.e. the people of Hollywood who are in that block.
Exactly.
Did he buy his own star?
No, he's awarded it.
You can buy your own star.
Yes.
He bought it, didn't he?
I don't
Kim
know.
Kardashian, yes, he did buy it, and Kim Kardashian was going to buy one too. He told her to.
Yeah.
So he has no
She
right
said,
to have it.
No, I don't think so. Even Kim Kardashian.
He does have right to have it there.
Because he bought it.
He has it every right.
He wasn't awarded it.
You don't vandalise something in a public street.
Well,
you don't take a pickaxe
anyway, yes.
to a landmark. You don't do it.
There is also a bloke somewhere in England, I've forgotten where, who carved out of his hedges the form of a naked lady two drunken men ripped its legs off, pretending to have sex with it. Now, they had no right to do that either.
No.
It's
No
disgusting
right.
to me.
Yeah, disgusting.
No, right.
Dinesh says, great discussion, guys. Really opens unknown horizons. Sorry, got to run. Daily duty calls, as it does. Scientists have discovered a new species of venomous snake in the far north of Queensland.
You know, there's so many things in Australia that will kill you. Lots and lots. And snakes, there are hundreds of species of snakes in Australia that will kill you. And here's another. So they've got this lovely brandy, what's it called? A bandy snake.
Yeah,
That's right.
bandy snake.
And it's about 40 centimetres long. I don't know what that is in Lee's money.
No, I don't.
And
40 centimetres, that's about 20 inches.
And it's got like these little fine stripes on it with these big black bands across its body, in case you ever see one and need to run away. But it's the venom is the same as the redback spider, which will inevitably make you very sick and probably kill you.
Mm-hmm.
But just don't go to the far north Queensland, everybody, because why? There's crocodiles and there's snakes and there's spiders and the people are a bit strange and something will kill you up there.
That's very true indeed. Just reminded that this coming Wednesday in Australia, I shall be on Retro Rock Live.
Well, you
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to join Mark on Retro Rock Live and bestow the virtues of Slovakia.
There you go.
Interesting.
That's what you want to do. Want to
Probably.
rev it up and get some Australians over in Slovakia.
Yeah,
So, make a mess.
I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with Mark, the worst producer in the world, and I get together, but I'm sure it's going to be different.
It's going to be hilarious.
Yes, I think it probably will, knowing some stuff. So I think I might email the world's worst producer and say, can I have that track, please? And he'll probably go, what's that then?
Which track?
Because he's the world's worst producer, he won't know you. So.
Oh, I see. Which
Yes.
track is it?
Yeah, he won't know. Normally you can hear the programme on a Friday morning breakfast show here on RTI. And so next Friday you're going to get me twice.
Mm-hmm.
That's bad, isn't it?
No, it's lovely.
Is it?
I love having you twice.
Is this back to the dentist?
I think it could be. Anyway, the adverts are out already for Christmas. And
Disgusting.
disgusting. Why?
Right.
Are you ready with the C word, Rach?
No, because I'm going to argue the counter. I think it's terrific.
No, you got to have double C words, 2 C's.
Oh, yes.
The Christmas C. So you do Christmas C.
Christmas cracker!
Cracker! Right.
That was more fun than it should have been.
Yeah, it's Lee's just made a fundamental faux pas. He's pulled a funny face.
That's not a funny face. That's my own face.
Which is like
It's his regular face.
Which is like, oh my God, you two shut up.
Right.
Having forgotten that
we're on radio.
Right. And nobody can see your really conjoined,
contorted
twisted,
face?
contorted face. Yes.
Conjoined. I've got 2 of them.
Yes.
Most people have said
Conjoined
that.
face.
Right. Here's the story.
I would never call you two-faced, Uncle Lee, ever.
It's on the front page of the consumerwatchfoundation.com. Go and have a look at it because it's really interesting.
52 minutes.
I have actually
52 minutes.
I have put the story on
52
there
minutes.
because I think that the DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel in Sheffield have overstepped the mark by advertising only 158 days to go to Christmas. Book your party early and we'll give you 10% off. Now, I accept that it's a joke. I accept it's also, but the problem is, but is it good marketing?
Yeah, look at the publicity they've got.
Well, that was the point when I was doing the story, thinking, should I do it because I'm going to give them. But is it just cynical or is it actually consumer savvy? I personally say it's cynical.
No.
I say it's savvy and smart, and they should, because that's the thing. People wait, especially if they're doing like a work function or something. And it's the Christmas dinner for your work party or blah, blah, blah.
Yep.
If you leave it too late, and then you cannot get a booking, and that's from October.
Yes, absolutely.
So it's August. There's nothing wrong. It's not. It's July, but it's going to be August in a second. and get onto it and book it now and get everybody to agree to it now. And then
isn't it
and some of those things, if you book
disrespectful?
far enough in advance, you get a discount and good on you.
Isn't it disrespectful to the Christian values behind Christmas?
No.
Well, it's just making it all about mammon, and Christmas has never been about mammon.
And to be honest, excuse me, pay attention, QVC UK, because we don't have you here. If QVC UK was to actually ship stuff to Slovakia, which they won't, boring, I would be shopping now for Christmas.
Yeah,
Well, do you know what? There's a bit of a cool thing that we do down here in the southern hemisphere, because it's winter now. A lot of places do a Christmas in July, so that we get a white Christmas.
Yeah, right, here we
And
go.
it's a massive tourist trap.
Sarah says, I feel like I live on a parallel universe. Christmas. My kids have been singing Christmas tunes since June.
There you go.
Yeah,
But
why
that's the
not?
thing. We do in Australia. It's a big deal to have Christmas in July, and there's a place not far out of Melbourne called Sovereign Hill, which is where part of Melbourne is a really old gold mining, gold rush area. So there's this great place called Sovereign Hill. If you two can ever get on a bloody plane, I'll take you.
You said the B word.
She's been saying all sorts of words.
So you go out there and everybody's dressed in, pioneer clothes, and you get to buy things from the oldie lolly shop, and your pants are gold and do all that kind of stuff. And they've got a Christmas in July going on right now where they shoot fake snow in the air, and it's actually really cold there right now. It's about 1 degree, but it doesn't snow very much this far down in the elevation. But they have a big deal whether it's Christmas in July. So, but if it's a venue, I don't think it upsets Christian values. If it's a venue and they're advertising book now, Christmas is all about bringing people together. How does that
what it
upset
does?
Christian
Yeah.
values?
I'm just falling out with Cat Andrew. He says,
Oh, why?
Christmas isn't the same as when Eric was a lad. Sadly, Cromwell cancelled it. That's not nice, is it?
Good old
I don't
Cromwell.
get it, but that's okay.
You don't get it?
I don't get a lot of things you guys say.
Do you not know who Mr. Cromwell is?
He makes soup with Mr. Blackwell.
Cromwell was one of the geezers in the English Civil War.
He lived in the house next door to me in the village of the Damned, actually. And it's now a pub called the Reformed Tavern. And it was called the Reformed Tavern because he used to be there. Ha ha! Stick that in your thing and what's it?
Absolutely. Now Steve Mann's jumping on the bandwagon. I thought Cromwell was around when Eric got his pension. Ho, 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 ho.
Ho, ho,
Not
ho.
funny. Rach, what are you doing this weekend, kidder?
Unpacking boxes. I have to work tomorrow, and I'm going to go out to the nice hospital and see Beth.
We love Beth.
Yep, give her all our best.
And
She's doing really well. She's being very brave and awesome, and she's doing
Good.
very well.
well, we've got Joe in hospital. We've got Beth in hospital. Another people. Eric is older than God's dog, says Joe. Thank you, Joe. You just remind me to be nasty to you next week.
Do you know dog is God backwards?
Yes.
That's terrible.
I know. Never mind. So Rach is going to be doing mummy stuff for Beth. Mummy stuff for Robbie.
Yes,
Because you've got 2 kids.
I do.
Yes. Indeed so.
One enormously larger than the other.
Well, that's very true. What are you up to this weekend, Mr. Banks?
Well, on the basis of what's been said, I'm going to go Christmas shopping.
Yeah, right.
Yay.
Did you do any Christmas shopping last year?
Now, I don't do Christmas shopping because I don't believe in Christmas.
So you're a little liar then?
I am not a little liar.
He's a little liar. Little liar.
I'm going to clean my Bentley.
How course we got to go to shop and get the polish for
Yes,
you,
I've got to
haven't
go and polish my Bentley.
we? I'm not doing it.
I didn't want you to do it.
You're doing it.
I'm not doing it.
I'm just lending you the tools.
Andrea can do it.
Polish your Bentley in front of nice people? That's terrible.
Yeah, exactly. Exactement, as they say in all the wise and wonderful things. Thank you, everybody. We wish Beth all the best since she's in hospital.
Yep.
With Joe, all the best. He's in hospital. Get
All
well
the best
soon.
for Lee with toothache.
Yes.
I think somebody said something, Rachel. I went deaf.
Cracker Jack.
And that's about it. Right, it's time to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Say goodbye.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
That's Sooty and Sweet. I don't know which one's which, but, we don't mind. Thank you very much indeed for your company this week. Finally, someone else that hates Christmas. I thought I was the old... Stop it. Steve, now you... Christmas is wonderful. Christmas is one. The minute, actually, it's really hard for me programming a radio station with music because I always want to put the Christmas songs on because I love them. And my favourite is Greg Lake's I Believe in Father Christmas. It's wonderful. Wonderful. You wait till Rachel and I start at Christmas. It's going to be fantastic. Cat loves Crimbo, but not in July. Coming up next, it is the one and only Steve. With an amazing program, always is. And then a little bit later on, we've only got the Carnaby Cat Show, preceded by Jim Stevens and Keith Rogers, Titus Jennings, which means, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I have to get lost. Otherwise, they'll all moan at me for being late. See ya. Bye-bye.